It's time for another episode of Let's Get Pivotal. My name is K.O. Patel. I'm the Business Development Manager at Bio3D. Joining me today is my co-host, Mr. Ross Lee.
Hi everybody, my name is Ross Lee. I am the CTO of Orthotech and Bio3D in Malaysia. Let's see what interesting things we can get from today's episode.
Our guest today is Dr. Kayla Tay.
Hi guys, I'm Dr. Kayla. I'm a dentist currently practicing in Subang Dental Specialist Clinic. I'm also a dental health content creator, which I started doing for about 2 years ago. And I'm blessed to have close 50,000 followers in total on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. And I'm also a host on TV3, guest speaker on some TV shows like Extra AC and TV7, as well as a couple of radio stations. So thanks for having me today, Kayer and Ross.
Great.
Oh, you're most welcome, Dr. Kayla.
Nice to have you too.
So today we're going to discuss social media in dentistry. And I think, Dr. Kayla, you are the perfect person to have for the show for this episode. So,
thank you.
What is social media in dentistry?
All right, so this question is probably one of the most popular questions that I get. So social media can be a lot of things in dentistry. It can be an educational site, it can be a marketing platform, it can exist to simply provide an address for your new patients to find your clinic, Well, personally, my purpose on social media as a dentist has been the same from day one until this very second. That is to bring dental health awareness. And as dental health professionals, we know that awareness is very important in industry. Back in dental school, we're always taught to teach people how to brush teeth, going out into the community and reaching out to people and just trying to spread, the dental awareness. But, the question is that what happens to the rest of the people who have no access to all these services or who are not involved in any of the health programs? So that is when you have to think how to reach out to them. So the best way to do that is, social media. Malaysians are such big fan of social media. I believe that there's almost no one who does not have either a Facebook or a Twitter or an Instagram or a YouTube account. You gotta have one of it, right? So the best part about making contents on social media is that you can get great information out to mass public in the fastest way with the minimum effort. So social media in dentistry, to me, it is a new way to raise awareness and as well at the same time to revamp the image of dental professionals in the public's eye.
Okay, so what is it with your growing social media presence in patient education has been steadily growing over the last year plus. How has your experience been in engaging with patients as a consequence of your social media presence?
It's actually, the same. Social media presence or not, I believe that we all should treat our patients like how we would treat our parents, Just because you have a certain amount of followers doesn't mean that you can treat patients any differently. So I love it when patients from social media, they actually visited my clinic, because that proves that your content brought awareness and it brought motivation that converts into physical action for someone to actually come and let you take care of their oral hygiene. So that is something definitely that is amazing to me. And of course, patients from social media, sometimes they're more interested in taking selfies, which is expected. Yeah, the difference is that I will be more careful in marking the boundaries between being a professional and keeping my private life private.
Yeah. So definitely, I think I would assume that with this social media and dentistry, it's definitely helped spread more awareness to to the normal ordinary people that are not so in depth with dentistry.
Yep, definitely. Because a lot of people, they might not be a big fan of visiting the dentist because maybe they are scared of the dentist. First, that's the most common reason. Second, perhaps they don't have the awareness. They only visit the dentist when they really have the need. For example, a very severe toothache. But when a patient has toothache, it's already too late. So what we're trying to do here is, to use social media to spread the right message out so that the public understands the importance of routine dental care and just for them to have a better awareness in taking care of their own dental health.
Yeah, to be aware that you should actually visit the dentist like a regular checkup, like when you go to the doctor for your yearly. Yeah, so
you're correct.
Do you think then that it's important for dentists and even medical doctors for that matter to actually be taking an active interest in social media as a way to sort of engage their patients? Because it seems like, that's what social media is geared towards, is engagement.
Yep. True. So I think using social media to engage with patients is a new form and it is a new norm. Perhaps, the conventional way of being a health professional on social media not is not too mainstream. So this had brought a lot of misconception. For example, people sometimes will think, if you want to be a health professional on social media, you have to pretend to be someone else. But that is actually not accurate. For me, I think that if you want to present yourself as a health professional on social media, you don't have to pretend to be someone else. Actually, you should just be your professional
Correct,
self,
yeah.
like how you would be in your clinic. Yeah. So, just do your research, give accurate information and bring the right awareness without being biased. I think this is really important to realize that social media is just another platform for you to share your knowledge to your friends or to your patients. And to your question, whether to engage directly with patients via social media, I believe most practitioners, they will have their own preferences. So to do it or not to, it really depends on how the practitioner is comfortable with, which way they are more comfortable with.
Yeah, so it definitely sounds like it's an option, but it's definitely something that clinicians should keep an eye on. Essentially, watch the space. Yeah.
Yep, I think the practitioners should decide for themselves whether they are comfortable in this way in doing this. If they are, give it a go. I mean, if they are not, then just do whatever that is the best for you.
Do you see an opportunity for the dental market to grow via social media, given that there's so much competition going on? So this is more of a question from a business aspect.
Okay, so definitely, I believe that a lot of dental clinics, they are actually doing online marketing, which means they probably market themselves through social media. So most of them, they probably do it through a marketing agency, which I'm honestly not too familiar with. I don't have much personal experience in that sense. As what I've mentioned, it's all about awareness. So how do we explain that? So let's put it in like a actual example. So when you're able to share your knowledge to the public, whether you don't have to make videos, you could have been just writing like a Facebook post, or you just share some infographics about some dental knowledge. Maybe someone who was about to get fake veneers done by a fake dentist, they scroll through their Facebook and then they saw your content, and they change their mind and they seek for help instead to address their dental concerns because you have provided the right awareness to them. So that is when you are succeeding as a dentist, and at the same time it is helping your own practice to grow. So in a way, the dental market is growing via social media. So what I'm saying is that social media can definitely help the dental market to grow, but that shouldn't be the sole purpose you create content on social media. It should always start from the intention of providing the public with the proper awareness, and whether the information that you provide out there, the awareness that you brought, can convert the audiences into your patients. That is just a bonus.
Interesting, yeah. So I mean, in terms of what you've just spoken earlier, like from from your experience, what are the do's and don'ts? Like how do you know as a social media and dentistry, how do you know where to draw the line in social media and dentistry while keeping the engagement ethical and professional? Because we do know that you guys are professionals. There are also certain lines, like how you said, you have to keep things factual, etc. So how do you know where you draw that line in terms of what you are doing in social media?
Okay, so great question. We'll start from the easy part,
Yep.
which is the do's on social
Yes,
media.
yes.
So I think the do's in social media is, of course, like what we've mentioned, to spread appropriate and accurate information. I'm sure everyone, even the public, they understand that. But I think that the don'ts are, of course, spreading inaccurate information or perhaps hyperbolic statement
Yep.
that can potentially harm the image of the entire profession in the public's eye just to get attention. So I think that is not a right thing to do, because we understand that sometimes people create contents on social media, especially certain, let's say, influencers or YouTubers who are not health professional, sometimes, the topic might be, the name of the video might be a little bit hyperbolic,
Yeah.
or just to
Attention
gain
grabbing.
attention.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think that is something that health professional shouldn't do, because that is what makes our profession professional. I'll share some personal experience in this matter. So I did a few videos explaining about the dangerous effects of fake braces and fake veneers, which has helped raise quite an amount of awareness among the
That's
public.
good.
And thank you. And I think a personal experience, this is the point of view of me as a content creator. The really amazing experience is when I was in MEDAC. It was a dental conference, right? So a dentist came up to me and then he told me, a patient seek for his help to remove her fake veneers after watching my video. And to me, that was really amazing, because indirectly I was able to better someone's health, although I've never met that particular person. I think it's really, really great when you're able to bring this impact to your audiences and to your profession, your own colleagues as well. However, I think we have to be mindful of what we say on social media. So I personally read through journals and paper when I research and script my content before actually filming it, just to double check that my informations are up to date. Because dental health, what we learned 5 years ago might not be the same today. So things are always changing, things are constantly changing. And if you say the wrong thing on social media, it doesn't just affect your own image in the public eye. You might spread inaccurate information, and that might cause some troubles to your own profession, your own colleagues as well, because the patients might come into their clinic with the wrong concept in mind, and that might cost them a lot of time just to explain to the patients and whatnot. So I think if you don't research properly before posting something on social media, I think it's unfair for the rest of the profession. So where do we draw a line? I believe it's personal life lah. So I think that as health, my point is that if you were to present yourself as a health professional on social media, there will be certain things that you will try to restrain from posting, because people will just associate your image with that particular habit. For example, maybe you're doing something silly and you think it's funny to show your friends and family, but to show it to the general public, you have to think twice before doing
So
that.
I guess being in that limelight of being Insta famous or Facebook famous or social media famous, you always have to also think twice. You have to think twice before what you post. But coming from that, have you actually gotten any experience from that before? I mean, just as we're talking about, have you actually came across such experience like that?
You mean as in from the things that I've posted?
Yep.
The feedbacks? Yeah. So I wouldn't say I'm super famous, because there's definitely people who are bigger than me and they're doing so much better. But just from my personal experience, I do notice that whatever I post on social media, whether perhaps it's just an Insta story of my workflow on CADCAM Crown, and there will be dental professionals who are asking me, are you using this material? Are you sure this is suitable for this and that and this and that? So it's the time that you have to explain to them, yes, according to the manufacturer's instruction, this is appropriate to be used for this posterior tooth and whatnot. And for the general public, they're actually quite curious, because I recently posted a workflow of CADCAM Crown, and they actually thought that I'm an engineer. I'm a subspecialty in engineering or something like that, because they thought that all this 3D scan, all this design, all this milling, it is done by an engineer. That's what the general public thinks.
That's true, yeah.
But yeah, so it's pretty interesting when you are able to show the public the side of dentistry that not a lot of people are showing and sharing on social media. So I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, but something interesting you did point out is that when you do actually share something, let's say it's a CAD-CAM crown like you mentioned, and a doctor contacts you in terms of the material, you mentioned that this is what the manufacturer recommends. And that sort of implies that you absolutely have to know your stuff before you're sort of posting anything on social media in any way. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
We
that's
have to
really
know-
important. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really important. I mean, when we are treating our patients, we should already know what kind of materials are suitable for what kind of cases. So, social media is just another way of making you double confirm that whatever you're doing is
Yeah.
legit, which is supposed to be the way in our daily clinical practice.
Correct. It is a medical
Yeah.
profession, so to speak, as well.
Yeah.
So,
It's actually pretty nice as well because you have the chance to interact with dentists from all over the world. For example, the dentist who recently had a conversation with me, he's actually from Singapore. So, we can actually exchange our insights and our knowledge in CADCAM. So that's pretty amazing. I wouldn't have done that if I don't have all this social media, existence or something like that. Yeah.
how's your going with the podcast title, Let's Get Pivotal,
Right.
right? So how's been your so let's pivot our questions a little bit. How has been your experience with CADCAM so far?
Oh, yeah, so it's pretty great. It's definitely something new for me because previously I was just working in a government clinic, so I didn't have the chance to try out this technology. So it's pretty great because of course, we can do the 3D scan and we can better assess our cavity preps because everything is so enlarged and
Clear.
you can
Clear.
you can really scrutinize
Yeah.
your own preparation and look it in a millimeter in a very very enlarged sort of way, so that really helps me to level up my preparation, and I really see an improvement from preps to another prep to another prep. So that is the first point. The second point is that clinical time is definitely saving a lot of clinical time and material because we are doing 3D scans, and that is definitely a really good thing and a more comfortable thing for the patients as well. As you know, some patients, they might not be that comfortable in tolerating impression material in their mouth, especially uppers, patients with gag reflex. So that is one thing. Second thing will be the clinical time. So we will save a lot of clinical time as well when we are able to mill our own in-house crown and give patient on the same day. But of course, that's case, but I mean, it's depending
Selective,
on the case
yep.
itself.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's case selective, that's case dependent. So another thing will be, patients will generally be more impressed because you have all this technology.
Yeah.
And
Engagement
it shows-
is important.
exactly. Yeah. It shows that
It has that wow factor.
yeah, it has the wow factor, and it shows that your clinic is willing to invest more for the comfort of the
Up-to-date.
patient.
Yeah.
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 Mm-mm.
Yeah.
So that's what I think about
Okay.
CADCAM and how its
That's good.
importance in my daily clinical practice.
Well, I mean, honestly, I hope you continue to learn more and keep getting better at it.
Thank you. I hope so too. Baby steps.
Yes.
Baby steps.
Baby steps, exactly, correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So just out of curiosity, so
Mm-hmm.
what have you done with like CAD/CAM? So just crowns? Have you progressed to like using the scans for maybe aligners or implant cases or that sort of thing?
Well, smile design, I've been practicing that. So smile design is definitely interesting because you can incorporate patients of their extraoral photographs into designing a smile and then 3D printing it and then just to show a patient the mock-up or transferring the mock-up into the patient's mouth. So that's definitely one of the good ways as well because patient can actually visualize the final smile. And I mean, of course, you can do that by mock-up as well, but it makes your work a lot easier because you can sort of incorporate the extraoral photo into your design.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Leads
that's
to
what I
better
like
acceptance
about it.
as well. Yeah.
So just curious, have you actually done a social media video on these digital crowns, CAD/CAM crowns? Have you done anything on it before?
I've done a simple one for my clinic, Subhanallah
Okay.
Specialist Clinic. So I posted it on the clinic's Facebook page. But personally, on my own platform, I haven't done a complete, comprehensive video on the entire workflow. But yeah, good suggestions. I should do that. I think it would be quite interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. Maybe we could attach it to our podcast on YouTube
Yeah,
so
yeah.
people can also come across and click on the link and take a
Sure,
look at
sure.
what
So
you
people will have a
actually
better
shared.
understanding as well.
Yeah, because there's still, even at this stage, there's still quite a lot of misinformation about, CAD/CAM, what it's capable of doing, and
Right,
that
right.
sort of misinformation. So yeah, interesting.
Mm. Yeah, that's a good suggestion. I'll keep that in mind.
Okay, and so Dr. Kayla, finally, this is something we've been doing for the last few podcasts, and I think it's a pretty interesting tradition. So now I'm going to ask you how you feel. How are you feeling? Because there's so much going on in the world today. You know, you have pandemics. The clinical setup is just so much more invasive now, I feel, with PPE. So how are you feeling going forward? Do you feel that there's light at the end of the tunnel?
I feel excited, definitely. So in terms of social media in dentistry, since that's like our main topic, I've been trying to explore different aspects of dentistry and ways to bring more interesting informations to my audiences. The old kind of video is just like talking in front of the camera. So we've been trying to do more sort of like other ways just to engage with more audience, just to attract younger audiences as well, and so that the dental health awareness can be spread out on a wider platform. And what else? Clinical wise is definitely interesting because I have recently just started working in Subang Dental Specialist, so it's definitely a lot of exposure to a lot of exciting cases. So that has been going well for me. So I think that it is definitely an exciting journey ahead, and I really look forward to it.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Actually, I have one question as well. I'd like to ask
sure.
you to put it in the podcast as well. It's totally out of it, but what would you like to say to some professionals that are in or out of your dental field? Maybe they're in a different field as professionals. What would you like to say to them who are looking to start their own social media presence by spreading awareness? What would you like to advise them or tell to them how to maybe get started?
Okay, so I think that being a content creator on social media, it is definitely not an easy task. First off, us as health professionals, we have a lot of work to do, and we have a lot of work. We have a lot of time that has to be spent in the clinic. So what most people see is the things that you post on social media, but you don't see the tons of dedication that goes underneath it. That means sacrificing a lot of personal time, and there's a lot of aspects that outsiders can't see as well. For example, just for this podcast, I'm sure Kier and Ross, you guys must have spent a lot of time in editing it, in inviting people, in scripting out the content. It's exactly the same if you were to be a content creator on social media. Another aspect would be there will actually also be keyboard warriors and anonymous haters who just want to demotivate you at times, and it is not an easy thing to overcome. It is not an easy thing to accept. So if you're planning to be a content creator on social media, no matter if you're just wanted to be a person who shares what she cooks on a daily basis, or you want to present yourself as a health professional, make sure that you have the mental strength and the motivation to produce consistent content. Don't get defeated just by a fake profile telling you that, oh, what are you trying to do, or what are your intentions, or just like, oh, I hate you, I think what you say is stupid. Yeah, you have to make sure that you are strong enough to overcome it, because if you don't, you're going to be brought down by them, and that's going to cause you a lot of cause you a lot of emotional disturbances, which, to be honest, to me, it was something that I find it a challenge to overcome, especially when I first started. It was 2 years ago. I was relatively still young as in like doesn't have the full maturity in accepting people like this, people spamming my inbox like this. But along the way, you just kind of learn to accept it, and you have to understand that some people say things to help you grow, but some people, they just say things to just to bring you down. So don't forget your very, very initial intention, which is to raise awareness. Whether it's a lot, whether it's a little, it doesn't really matter, as long as you can change that one or two person's life, or you can change their mind in a certain aspect. You're already doing really good. And with that kind of mental strength, with that kind of determination, you will go a long way. So if you are planning to start your journey as a content creator, as a health professional, good luck, and I really wish you all the best.
Well,
Great, that's awesome.
With that, thank you so much, Dr. Kayla, for being a guest on our podcast. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for letting me to be a part of the sharing as well.
No problem. We hope you'll join us again in the future.
Sure, no problem.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the end of another episode of Let's Get Pivotal. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, BioLearn, or follow us on Facebook and listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, or Google Podcasts. Catch you on the next episode. Till then, be well and stay safe, Malaysia.